The wealth of the countries is unequally distributed. But which country has the highest gross domestic product per capita? The gross domestic product per inhabitant from 2020 is decisive for this ranking. With the GDP per capita, the manufactured goods are calculated by the sum of the population of the nation. The number is an indicator of the economic performance of a national economy. Number 5. United States of America. The country with the third most inhabitants occupies the 5th place. The US is a country of 50 states occupying much of North America, with Alaska in the northwest of the continent and Hawaii in the Pacific. The major cities on the Atlantic coast are New York, a global financial and cultural center, as well as the capital, Washington, D.C. The metropolis of Chicago in the Midwest is known for its influential structure. Hollywood on the west coast of LA is a famous place in the film industry. The United States of America is the third largest country in the world, both in area, after Russia and Canada, and in population, after China and India. The English name United States of America is abbreviated to USA in most cases, while US. Some also say America smoothly, although that's not entirely correct, since America is the name of the entire continent. Land borders exist only with Canada, to the north, and Mexico, to the south. The east coast is on the Atlantic, the west coast on the Pacific. Alaska is equally part of the United States, although it is unique among the 48 states that make up the core of the state. However, far away from this is the island of Hawaii as the 50th state. Due to the large size of the nation, there are 4 time zones and many diverse landscapes. Desert, prairie and high mountains belong to it. Bison and bears, skunks and chipmunks live in the United States. Of course, the land of unlimited opportunities should not be missing from this ranking. If one only looked at the gross domestic product of the appropriate country, and not calculated it per capita, the USA would be by far the richest country in the world. Since this is not the case in this ranking, the USA, with a GDP of $63,358 per capita, only takes 5th place. Number 4. Norway. Norway is a Scandinavian country prominent for its mountains, glaciers and deep coastal fjords. The capital Oslo is home to countless parks and museums. Viking ships from the 9th century can be seen in Oslo's Vikingskipshuset. With its average-colored wooden houses, Bergen is a popular starting point for boat trips into the dramatic Sognefjord. Norway is also a popular fishing, hiking and skiing destination. Lillehammer, the venue of the 1994 Winter Olympics, is one of the best-known winter sports resorts. Norway is in northern Europe. To the east it has a long border with Sweden, with which it occupies much of the Scandinavian peninsula. In the west lies the Norwegian Sea, a marginal sea of the Atlantic. In the northeast there are still land borders with Finland and Russia. The country stretches extremely long and becomes extremely narrow mainly in the north. Norway is exceptionally mountainous, also along the coast. There are many sea bays that reach far inland, the fjords. On the mountains there are many barren plains, the fells. However, islands belong to Norway. Some of them are far to the north, like Bear Island or Spitsbergen. Norway has almost made it onto the podium of the richest countries in the world. Statistically, there is $67,326 for every inhabitant. Number 3. Ireland. The Republic of Ireland occupies most of the island of Ireland, which lies west of England and Wales in the Atlantic. The capital Dublin is the birthplace of writers such as Oscar Wilde and home of Guinness beer. The 9th century Book of Kells and other illustrated manuscripts can be viewed in the library of Trinity College Dublin. Dubbed the Green Isle for its lush landscape, the country is dotted with castles and palaces such as the medieval Cayo Castle. Ireland is part of Western Europe. The country is on an island with Northern Ireland. Likewise, Ireland's sole land border is that of Northern Ireland, which is part of Great Britain. Ireland is in the Atlantic. The coast here is rough and wild with high cliffs. To the east, the Irish Sea separates Ireland from Great Britain. The capital Dublin is also on the east coast. Ireland is a green island with considerable forest and meadows. The Irish communicate in English, but also in Irish. Every 10th Irishman has red hair. The most common Irish are Catholic. The English have ruled Ireland since the Middle Ages. However, this led to controversy. Because the English wanted to suppress uprisings, they settled in Ireland, mainly in the northeast, English. They were nevertheless Protestant within the Irish were Catholics. At the moment, this has only brought about relative annoyances. The Irish demanded their own parliament. In the Easter Rising of 1916, they underlined their desire for independence, which was finally granted in 1921. The northeast remained throughout English. Until 1998, however, there were violent clashes there. Ireland is considered a tax haven and helps large corporations like Apple and Facebook to reduce tax spending. This has already been criticized by the European Union. But it brings the state just as much foreign exchange. With a GDP per capita of $85,206, it performs the marginal country to the external place. Number 2. Switzerland. Switzerland is a mountainous country in Central Europe with numerous lakes, villages and high alpine peaks. In their cities you will find medieval quarters with landmarks such as the Clock Tower Zeitlog in the capital Bern and the Chapel Bridge of Lucerne. Switzerland is also famous for its ski resorts and hiking trails. Banking and finance are essential industries. Swiss watches and chocolate are world famous. What is special about Switzerland? There is no question that Switzerland is primarily famous for the Alps and thus for impressive glaciers and spectacular mountain worlds. In addition, there is crystal clear water, a number of natural spectacles, original areas and fairy tale winter landscapes. Switzerland is a small country in Central Europe, bordering Germany to the north, Austria and Liechtenstein to the east, Italy to the south and France to the west. Switzerland is a very rich country and has a varied landscape. Here you will find mountains, valleys and lakes. Only the sea is missing. Depending on where they live, the Swiss speak a different language, namely French, Italian, Romansh or German. The Swiss German, Schweizerdeutsch, dialect is also widespread. By the way, did you know that Switzerland doesn't have a capital? Only one seat of government, and that is in Bern. The largest city in Switzerland is Zurich, with around 400,000 inhabitants, more than twice as many as in Bern. In this way, Switzerland is as large as the Netherlands, making it one of the smaller countries in the world. The highest mountain in Switzerland is the Douvre-Spitze, which you can find in the Monte Rosa Massif. Nevertheless, the best known is probably the Matterhorn. Such a mountain is the symbol of Switzerland. The Matterhorn is also climbed again and again, which despite everything is not entirely without risk. Banks and mountains, the second richest country in the world, is extremely well known for this. With a GDP of $87,367 per inhabitant, Switzerland is only almost ahead of Ireland, but still occupies second place in the ranking. Number 1, and the richest country in the world. Luxembourg. Luxembourg is a minor European country bordering Belgium, France and Germany. The mainly rural territory is characterized to the north by the dense forests of the Ardennes and natural parks, to the east by the rocky gorges of the Mulethal region and to the southeast by the Moselle Valley. The capital, also known as Luxembourg, is known for its fortified medieval old town, which lies on a hill. Luxembourg is a small country in Central Europe. In this way it is as large as the Saarland, one of the small German federal states. Luxembourg borders Belgium, Germany and France. There is no user account for the sea, which is why Luxembourg is a landlocked country. The capital is the same as the country. The north is mountainous because it is in the Ardennes. The area here is Osling. There are distinct forests here. In the south lies the flatter and fertile Gutland. There are many fields and meadows. All in all, A lot of people like this live in Luxembourg like we do in a larger city like Hanover. Almost 50% of the population are not Luxembourgers at all. Instead, they mostly come from Portugal, France, Italy or Belgium. Many people who live in neighboring countries, nevertheless work in Luxembourg, come for this. Luxembourg also has 3 official languages: Luxembourgish, German and French. The children grow up multilingual. The richest country in the world is Luxembourg. The marginal European state has a gross domestic product of $116,921 per capita. The gap to the second-placed Swiss is therefore extremely large, as they are within at least almost $30,000 per capita. For comparison, the gross domestic product per capita in the Federal Republic of Germany was within $46,216 in 2020. This makes it the 17th richest country in the world. And that's it from my video. What is your opinion on the countries, or how do you find them? Write it in the comments. See you next time.